What is going on, Facebook? Facebook, we're live. Hey, I wanted to take a few minutes because I thought this would be very beneficial to my Facebook community. I'm going to talk to you about the topic of clarity. So if you don't know, I've got a weekly group that we meet Wednesdays at noon Central Standard Time. We talk about various topics. And this week, the topic was on the topic of clarity. And I think given the climate that we're in right now, where 2020 is like just absolute chaos, and we were talking about in the group that there's a small group of us that feel like 2020, we've actually been thriving versus just merely surviving. And one of the big reasons for that is because we're staying focused on who we are as people, and it's ultimately staying focused on being congruent with who we are, and that's having really good clarity. So the difference that I've learned from the High Performance Academy between mediocre, average performing people and low performing people and people that perform at the highest level, this is the top 15% in any field, is that they have really, really good clarity. And there's a study that was done where there's basically 4 areas where high-performing people have really, really good clarity. And if you have clarity in these 4 areas, you will be among the highest performing people. And that's clarity in yourself, who you are as a person. It's your social interactions. It's how you show up with your relationships, with your significant other, with your friends, with your family, with those that you work with. It's skill development. Are you developing skills that you enjoy doing that enable you to add value in the workplace or enable you to give back to the world? And it's acts of service, whether that be work-related service or adding value to the world. So having clarity in yourself, social interaction, skill, and service are incredibly important. So let's talk about self for a minute. So who am I? How do I show up in the world? And what I teach people are basically, what are the 3 words that describe you, the best of who you are? If I were to ask the 5 closest people around you, how would they describe you in 3 words? Are those the same 3 words that you would describe yourself? That's really the ultimate question. When you know who you are as a person and you're clear about yourself, it's going to enable you to make better decisions in life. It's going to tell you to utilize the word no more often. What I tell people, what I tell my clients is that if it's not a hell yeah, then it's got to be a no, because what happens is you end up with a lot of obligation and a lot of distractions in life. You fill up your time doing things that aren't necessarily congruent with who you are as a person. And then when those hell yeahs do come up, those things that truly fill your cup, you're full. You don't have enough time or energy to do those things because you're already caught up in distraction, obligation to other people. So knowing who you are as a person and yourself will enable you to make better decisions to keep obligation and distraction out of your life. Second thing is your social interaction. So how you show up with other people. How do you treat other people? The golden rule, right? How you treat others is how you want to be treated. So what are the 3 words that you would describe those interactions, and are you living up to those? And your success is going to be dependent upon the people that you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning that would be willing to drop anything to come and help you. So how many of those people do you have in your life? Are you showing up, for those people? Do you have quality relationships in your life? What skills are you developing? We as humans need to be working on and developing skills to enhance our competencies, the ability to improve our level of work, to be successful in your chosen path, in your chosen career. So skill development is incredibly important. A lot of people stray away from developing skills because it requires a level of work. But I'll have you consider that when you have skills that you've developed, you can contribute more. You're going to have more wisdom and insights. You're going to be able to give back more. You're going to become an expert in a field. And that's incredibly important. And the more clear you are, the better you're able to do that and able to serve. And then finally, your service. Whether that be service in work that you're getting paid to do or service into your community, but it's basically, how are you giving back to the world? What are you contributing to the world? And the more when you know what service you should be providing and giving back, you're going to be more satisfied and more connected and have more gratitude for the world. Okay. So once again, when we talk about clarity, 4 areas that you need to be abundantly clear on in high performing people, the top 15% in any industry are clear in these 4 areas: their self, their social interactions, their skill, and their service. Now, here are 4 ideas to help you develop clarity. Okay. The first thing, and this is what I teach to my clients, is reflection and scoring. You should be reflecting, and I like to use the scale 1 through 10. 1 through 10 to score your life. At a minimum, you should be doing this weekly. Here are 10 big areas that you should be focusing and scoring your life: your health and wellness, your mental and emotional stability, right, and capability, your relationship with your partner, significant other, your loved one, your relationships with your family, your friends, your mission, your experiences, your spirit connection to God, your finances, and learning and skill development. What I teach people is, like, on a weekly basis, you should be scoring yourself 1 through 10 in these areas. If you're pinging an 8, you're doing pretty damn good. If you're 5 or below, that might be an area for that week or the coming month that you may want to work on, right? And taking 15, 20 minutes on a Sunday to do a quick assessment will really help you maintain clarity. Because if you might be, like for me right now, I'm running a lot. My health and wellness is going pretty good, minus my little ankle injury, but I'm spending a lot of time in my health and wellness crushing all these lofty goals. But an area that I'm struggling with is my daughter's having some struggles with school and whatnot, so that's an area that I've got to focus on, right? So by doing this assessment, you can you only have so many hours in the week to focus. This enables you to identify where you should be focusing your energies and help you getting really clear on what you should be doing in life. And then having some self-reflection, doing a little gratitude journaling. So one of the things I teach on Sundays is, hey, what are the 3 things that went really well this week? What are 2 things that you learned about yourself? What are 2 things that you learned about others? What is one thing that you can do? What was one insight that you had this week that really filled your cup? Something that may have surprised you, an interaction that you had with someone. Excuse me. Second big idea is follow and record positive emotions. Oftentimes we go through each day reinventing the wheel. We don't take time to notice these positive interactions that we had. Maybe this great conversation where someone made me laugh. Something happened that really filled my cup. Had this interaction at the grocery store. We don't take the time to journal and jot these things down. And what you're going to find is, if you start doing this, you're going to notice some specific themes. And when you can identify what's filling your cup, these positive interactions, it will enable you to be able to search out and find these positive interactions so you can have more of them in your life. Okay. So follow and record positive interactions, either on a daily basis or a weekly basis at a minimum. 4 big idea is training. Oftentimes we're browsing for inspiration. We're scrolling through Facebook looking for these platitudes, right? But instead of just browsing for inspiration, study for education. So being involved, like reading books, being deliberate in listening to podcasts, being involved in a mastermind group, getting involved, going to an event, being involved with a coach or a coach mentor program of some kind. These are all skill development that will enhance your personal development. And, motivation is very fickle, but when you have the skills, when you start developing your personal development, it will enable you to find clarity. You're going to have aha moments in your training. When you read a book, like right now, the group's reading the 5 love languages. There's always an aha moment that pops up. Like, hey, I could be incorporating, my significant other likes acts of service. So maybe I should be doing these things. You're going to have those aha moments when you have the skill development and training. Then when you're like in a group session, like group coaching session, and people are talking about, various aspects of your life, it enables you to have these moments of aha where you can actually implement versus just, wandering through life and scrolling through Facebook and finding this cool little platitude and then not actioning anything. Train for personal development and skill development in your chosen field and personal development. 5th big idea in developing clarity is have depth. Have depth in your spiritual connection to God, or if you don't believe in God, whatever it is your spirituality is, but have some depth. Develop deeper skills that will enable you to have some more wisdom. It will, have depth in your relationships. Kind of once again, how many people can you call at 3 o'clock in the morning that'd be willing to drop everything to come help you? Having depth in the level of service that you provide and the value that you add in the rest of the world. Having depth in those moments of your life, these moments throughout the day, like when you send your kids off to school, like stop for a moment, tell them that you're proud of them, engage them, give them a hug. Those are those little moments in life that will truly fill your cup. That's adding depth to your life. And when you develop more depth in your life, you're going to develop more wisdom, more intuition, and more insights in life that's going to help you be clear and maintain your clarity. So my questions to you, and if you're watching this on a replay, just click replay. But here's a couple questions for you. What are you most certain about in your life at this very moment in time? What are you certain about? In all of this uncertainty that's happening right now with the election and COVID and everything else that's going on, within what you can control, not the White House, but your own house, what are you most certain about in life? Where do you feel directionless? Where do you feel directionless? And what is your big why right now? What is something that drives you, something worth your time, your sacrifice, your journey, something that's bigger than just yourself, something that you're willing to fight for? What is your big why right now? So I'm going to leave you with those three questions. If you feel free to answer those, you can DM me directly. If you feel compelled to drop them down below, drop them down below. But what are you most certain about in life right now? Where do you feel directionless? What is your big why right now? Something that drives you, something worth your struggle, your journey, something bigger than just yourself, something that you're willing to fight and love for. And these are some of the things that we talk about. Like I said, I've got a weekly coaching group. I got a group called The Forge. We get together weekly. We talk about personal development topics. We are reading the book, The 5 Love Languages. I've got it on my Kindle, but I actually have other versions of this. If you haven't read The 5 Love Languages, I highly encourage you to read this book. Hang on just a second here. Everyone has 5 love languages, and they've got 5 love languages for children, 5 love languages for singles, the 5 love languages men's edition. There's all sorts of 5 love languages. There's only 5 of them, right? There's 5 love languages. And if you don't know your significant other's love language, your children's love languages, those around you that are in your close circle, you should know what they are, because you can fill their cup. You can fill their cup. And that's the book of the month in the group that I have called The Forge. If you're interested in joining the community and the conversation, you can go to jtiegs.com community. And the challenge that I have for members of the Forge group this week is identify your significant other's love language and do one thing every day for the next 7 days. It's very deliberate to fill the love cup, right? And it's going to be good. So, hey, I just wanted to share with you a topic. I scroll through Facebook. It's chaos right now. People are scared. People are uncertain. But just realize you can only control what you can control. And when you have clarity in your own life, it's going to make your life better. And the highest performing people have incredible clarity in their life and who they are. They don't get focused on things that they can't control. Some things are just out of your control. Whoever ends up in the White House is really beyond your control. However many people get COVID, it's beyond your control. So control what you can control, get crystal clear on who you are, and focus on yourself and focus on your personal development. And have a free group if you're interested. Exercise called 75 Hard. It's a program designed by Andy Frisella. It's the one thing. It's been the space that I've been involved in that has kept me crystal clear on who I am. These 5 simple tasks that I do day in and day out over the course of the year